a challenging journey. And today we are joined with the Zaantu team again, and we're going to be talking about their experiences from joining campus, going through the motions, and then working a paid job. So, for all of you that are out there watching, and at some point you hope to get into a paid role, these are some of the things that you need to be mindful of. You're so welcome, Joseph and Louise and Valentino, Mr. Martin. Thank you so much for joining me in the room. So, I'd like to know, Louise, before you joined campus, what did you think working was like? What were your friends telling you? And then what happened when reality set in? What are those things that you didn't see coming? And what are those things that you really enjoyed?
Thank you for this opportunity. Um, I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Adeke Louise, and I'm a year two student doing Bachelor's of Information Technology and Computing. So before I joined campus, let me say during that time when I knew the course I was going to do, uh, I did some research online, and of course, most of the research says this field is very good because there are many subsections, if you get what I mean. There are many parts to take, and there is good money in most of the parts. So I was quite excited about that. The one thing that really put me down, I remember one time I was sitting, still doing research, and then my dad came in the room and he told me, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm making some research on this and this." He was like, what do you want to major in?" So I told him I want to do major in website designing, then later on maybe UI UX and so on and so on. And he told me, "Oh, my dear, that field is so congested, you will not manage. Will you be able to get a job?" And at that time, my heart sank. I was like, would I even manage? Maybe I should just go through this career just for formality. But I'm really grateful that I got this opportunity. Yeah, because I didn't see it coming. In fact, I was like, now what? Because in my family, many people are doing such courses. Like at home, we are three people. So in my head, I say, if we are three in our home, it means in every other home there is possibly someone, and it will be hard to get opportunities, stuff like that. So I went with that bias of like, let me just learn for it. Although I had the zeal, I had the motivation to really do my best. So when the opportunity with Zaantu came, actually, I won't tell the story of how I met Mr. Martin, but when I met when I met you guys, um, it was like, I don't know, a miracle or something of that sort, because it came at an unexpected moment. Because I remember telling one of my friends, "Oh, I've got some internship opportunity at some place," and she was like, "What place is it?" I'm like, "So and so." She's like, "Oh, is it paid?" I'm like, "No, it's not paid." And she's like, "You're wasting your time." Still, my heart dropped. I said, okay. But then I was like, no, I'm here for the learning purpose, and I'm not going to put myself to make it look like I can only do things for money, because at that moment I really knew nothing. So I had to give it my all, and I'm so grateful to where I've reached, that I've got a paid opportunity, and I hope that I would go to greater heights. I'm really excited for what the future has in store. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. That's really a touching story. It was nice to hear, and I am glad that what you expected and what the reality was were two different beautiful things at the same time. How
Yeah.
about you, Joseph? What has been your experience like? What were your expectations and versus the reality on the ground? Sorry, you're muted.
Thank you, Dr. Lisa. Good evening. I'm Seruyange Joseph, a software developer with Zaantu Technologies. My story is almost the same with Louise, but I started out from way a young age. I was attracted to technology, science, and those sorts of things. electronics and robotics, that sort of thing. So I think for a large part of time before even I joined campus, I remember I used to code. That was during COVID lockdown. I seriously started taking my coding serious. So I would do tutorials, go to W3 schools, do small things here and then. Um, and I always had a dream of doing an IT course, but even until the day, I won't lie, I only knew software engineering and computer science as the IT courses. But um, all I knew is that I wanted IT courses. So I just filled in with those application forms for university. I just did IT courses, BITC, BIA, software engineering. But I even didn't know what was really inside there. But me, I just knew I wanted to be a programmer. So luck had me. I got information systems at Chambogo. MOOC also gave me a course, but I opted for Chambogo. Um, and from there, I had started to, I had mentors in programming, and through one of my mentors, Herbert Yiga, I was connected to Zaantu, and I started working. But even though I had been programming for quite a while, nonetheless, I had never worked in a professional environment. It had always been my dream to work with a real professional team, So I really found my first months of work at Zaantu were really hard. I won't lie, because it was a bit. I had to overcome a lot of. I would say I had to grow into being a professional software engineer. I had to you know, grow a lot of soft skills, communication, time management, all those things, work collaboration, and all that. So those are some of the biggest things I've really benefited with from Zaantu, and also thanks to Zaantu for having been patient with me. I would say it's not quite easy to take in interns and train them to be professionals. Most people opt for having already existing professionals to do the work instead of growing an in-house team. So I'm really grateful for that. And finally, when this opportunity for the paid role came up, I was like, this has been my goal, because one of my goals was to get a job and then get an internship and then get a paid role. So now I'm like, it's like I'm done with my my goals I set at the beginning of where really I should. Maybe I'm going to set new ones. I don't know, but I'm almost done with them. So that's my experience with Zaantu.
Wow, that's really lovely. And there are some two things that stood out for me. The first one, the fact that you had mentorship at the beginning. So the mentorship was able to guide you to the right, decision to take. And then also the fact that you thought it was just about having coding skills, but then there's so many soft skills that are required in order to actually be in a work environment. Skills like communication, timekeeping, they seem minor and trivial, but they could be the defining line between you actually performing well and you performing badly. So it was also something that stood out for me, and I'm so grateful that you shared about it. And Valentino, I know you're still in the learning process. You're still facing those challenges that Joseph had earlier faced and is now a bit more used to and comfortable with. Tell me what you thought the experience would be versus what it is actually.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Valentino, a student, a second year student at Chambogo, and I'm studying Bachelor's of Information Systems. Uh, it's a really crazy story how I got to do an IT course at university. Truthfully speaking, I did arts in A level, and my heart didn't want to do anything related to business because from a young age, I really liked technology and everything. But of course, most cases when you do an arts course at A level, your road, your path goes towards business. So joining university, I had applied for information systems as my first choice, and then bachelor's of business administration as my second choice. Sadly, the university gave me a bachelor's of business administration, which was something that I had not wished for because, initially speaking, I really wanted to do uh, information systems because I had the love for technology. I wanted, because I used to look at applications, software, and everything, and I would say, "Wow, how come that someone can come up with this? I also want to come up with something like this. I want to develop an application. I want to, you know." But I had actually given up on most of the things. I had given up on because I was like, if this is what the university has given me, there's nothing much I can do. Let me just go and do business administration and see the way forward. But then my mom told me, because I talked to my mom and told her that you can actually apply to change course, and I had the qualifications because to get information systems at Chambogo, at least if you did arts, at least if you did entrepreneurship and geography, you still have a chance. But I don't know why they didn't give me the first try. So I did business administration for almost a month at university, and my mom told me to go and apply again. Me, I had really given up. I said because they were charging again 50,000 just to apply again for another, to change course. That is like reapplying for another course. So I had given up already. I said, let me just sit down and do business administration. That's because there's nothing much to do. But luckily, when I applied to change course again, I was given information systems and I was the first on the list. And I think only like 2 or 3 people who were given out of, I think, 10 or something. So that showed that indeed my path had already been, laid out for me. It was technology, it was information systems, it was something that I wanted to do, me as me. Because when I did business administration for almost a month, most of the things I reached there and I was seeing accounting and finance, I was like, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? you know so luckily I was given the course, and on the first the day they released the results, they released them in the evening. The next day I didn't even go back to business administration. I just moved straight to the faculty of science, which where our department is, and that's where the funny thing is, the first person I met at information system was Joseph. Joseph is there. He was the first person I met, and he's the one who directed me where the classes were and everything like that. So my expectations for a professional job in IT, first of all, our course that we do, information systems, really gives us a wide variety of professions to choose from. You can choose networking, you can choose software engineering, you can choose quite many. You can choose a lot of them because it gives you, unlike software engineering that puts you into one course, you can choose from a variety. So that also contributed to some of my confusion, because I was like, what should I do? Should I do software development? Should I do networking? Should I do, So when I was trying to look for a place to apply to for my internship, I had talked with Joseph before because Joseph did software, was good at software development. Even when during our Java lectures, he was the best. He got, I think, 90 something, 90 some 99. That is a A plus. I was I was really surprised. So uh, he has been a very big inspiration to me, because me at home, there's no one in our family who does IT. There's no one who knows what software is. If you are to tell them about front end and back end, they don't know what that is. They'll think you're talking about the front door and the back door or something. So, so I had no inspiration. I had no mentorship. I had nothing. I had the only thing that I had that was driving me ahead was my passion for, you know, the profession. So the reason as to why I joined information systems was to do more of software. But of course, when I joined information systems, what I expected was not what I found there, because they were not teaching basically software development. They were teaching a variety of things, business, how to apply technology into business, and all that, and then also some bit of software development, but not as much as I had expected. But my heart was still on software development. So when I talked to Joseph told me that he's going to talk to Mr. Martin and Dr. Lisa to see if I can get a spot for internship there. And I was a bit hesitant because, it's a remote job, and I was like, am I really going to get that skill, all that? But sincerely speaking, I've learned a lot compared to, I think, a person who would go and you know work from the premises, because sometimes I hear when you go there, they'll make you carry coffee and all that. But here, but here, I am really doing. I've been given assignments that I've worked. For example, Mr. Martin gave me a restaurant application to work on, and I worked on it. And it's something that uh, I I've really learned a lot from. Something that I wanted to talk about was my experience. What I expected from this internship, I expected to. There are some hardships that have really come, because there are sometimes when actually most of our jobs, the remote jobs especially, you have to be self-disciplined. You have to push yourself. So I've really struggled to, because I've never done this before. I've really struggled to teach myself some of the things. For example, teaching myself Flutter, because most of these things, for example, Java and JavaScript and these other programming language were taught in class, lectures and what. But now here I have to go to YouTube, and Mr. Martin has given me something, so I have to go and look for how to do it, and to implement it. So that really gave me really really hard time, because there are mornings I would wake up and say, what am I going to learn today? And you even don't know what to learn, because you don't, you may say, because there are, for example, Flutter has many widgets. You may say, I want to learn how to use this widget, and you don't even know what that widget is. You don't know, so it was really hard. But Joseph has been there for me. He calls me almost every day and asks me where I am. What have I done? Sometimes I look at when he calls me, and I look at him, and I look at the phone, and I see that it's Joseph calling. Sometimes I'm like, should I even pick up this call? I know he's going to ask me about work. But he has really pushed me, and I really thank, because I know Mr. Martin told him to make sure that he pushes me to the right path. And it's something that I would never experience from somewhere else. It's only at Zaantu that you can experience something like that. Someone who's people who are going to be there to find out how you are doing, ask you about. But most cases, when you're in other organizations that are quite very big, it's very hard for someone to look and focus on you, because they have a lot to work on. you know. So I really thank Zaantu for being there for me, and I hope for the best, because uh, that's it for me for now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Valentino, for sharing that interesting journey. And actually, now that you mention, all of these things require a measure of self discipline, and that's what we really try to cultivate. Because at the end of the day, If you are going to be most productive, you don't need to be pushed. You don't need someone to keep telling you to wake up out of bed. You need to develop that skill yourself. So actually, on the 28th, it's going to be a Saturday at 2:30 p.m. East Africa time. We have a webinar about imposter syndrome, where you feel like, am I really good enough for this role? Is this something that I should be doing? My skill is not matching the responsibility that I've been given. And you feel like you're just not good enough, but you have to keep showing up. So, we're going to be breaking down imposter syndrome and how to overcome it. We shall share the link shortly. So be sure to tune in for that one, because in as much as you need the skill, you also need the soft skills, like Joseph was talking about earlier, the soft skills, and you mentioned discipline. And so overcoming imposter syndrome is one of the things that contributes to putting you along the path. So Mr. Martin, what are your thoughts on everything that has been shared, and what would be your parting shots?
Yeah, I think what has been shared is pretty interesting. It's it's good to hear from people who have had real life experience, not just what they hear about, but actually doing hands-on, especially in the workplace. Most people think that in this day and age, you probably still need to go to specific location to do some work. The world is changing, and now you can work sort of remotely and get stuff done in a sense, depending on what profession you're in, right? So I'm actually happy that you guys have found this quite found this journey as interesting as it is, right? Some people may think that this approach of being chased around is what they're probably going to find. You might most likely find it there, but here what we're trying to do is you have an assignment, go figure it out. Go work on it. If case you're confused, okay, let us know you're confused where. How do we help you in that sort of regard? And then go back and then figure it out. That's sort of what we are doing in this sort of context, because everybody here is supposed to be more self-motivated, and at the end of the day, that's how companies grow in a sense. But also at the same time, also trying to cultivate an environment where people are innovative and self-leading. Again, which goes back to our vision, where we are trying to support businesses of all kinds by creating, leaders in different respects, in different categories, from different backgrounds. So at the end of the day, this is something that you guys need, something that I also need as well. So yeah, I think what has been shared is very good, very practical, and I think other people can learn from this, especially university students and those younger as well, in terms of how these things are, running in a sense. And the fact that right now we're working remotely, it also gives a different work dynamic. Um, Again, the disadvantages and also advantages to it. Maybe some of the disadvantages are that some people say is that when you don't go to the workplace, you don't exactly get to shadow under someone and learn as much as possible in that sort of regard. That I also get. But also, what you can do is you can maximize what you currently have, especially with the internet and knowledge and access to all kinds of information, that you can learn as much as possible and meet people either remotely or even get in touch with them and just learn from them. Again, the different ways that you can get mentored, one is through just being in touch, in direct contact with that person, physically seeing them and learning from them in that sort of regard. Then the other ways that you can learn from by reading books and learning from other people's experiences, then you can also learn about from other people, from people themselves as well. So just utilize all these opportunities. Some people might think that working remotely has its disadvantages, and it does have its disadvantages, but it also has its advantages as well. You're pushed into positions where you now begin to self-lead yourself and figure things out on your own that you otherwise wouldn't have if maybe if you're in a work environment and your boss or someone was hovering over you, like micromanaging you. I once heard of a story of someone who whose office was somewhere, and he had a window in his office, and just opposite were the workers. So he would peep and see who's not working. So you hear of such, stories, but at the end of the day, the world is changing. Some things will be done physically, some things may not be done physically. So, yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to be part of this team. And also, congratulations to Joseph and Louise, who have stuck around for quite long. And now there's someone that has come in, and now they're actually now getting paid work. In a sense, most interns don't necessarily get paid work, especially here in Uganda. So yeah, I'm happy for you guys, and the sky is the limit. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I guess we've come to the end of this live, and I hope that if you're watching live, you'll be able to join us on our webinar. And also on the 5th of July, we will be at Fortis Residences, Kampala. Mr. Martin, could you please tell us about that before we leave the session?
Yeah, so at Zaantu Technologies Uganda Limited, we have a spin-off called Zaantu Capital. Our city as a service led us to a point where we met different kinds of entrepreneurs and businesses that are looking to get funded. And we decided to add that also to our service. So what we are doing on the 5th of July is we are creating an event called the Investor Ready Summit. I noticed that some people that I talk to don't know what investors are actually looking out for, or what kinds of investors they need in that sort of context. So what we did is partner with Lila Heaven, and then also partner with EQ as well, to create an event called the Investor Ready Summit. The purpose of this summit is to bring together entrepreneurs and also funders within the Ugandan space or the Ugandan ecosystem. On that day, we'll pre-select 4 pitchers, people who will be able to present in front of a panel of investors, and also interact with other people. But in case you don't get the opportunity to pitch on that day, you still get the ability or the time to network with the representatives from those different firms and exchange phone numbers with them. We have tickets selling at 230,000. That's the early bird ticket, and the early bird ticket is expiring soon, which will now revert to the other ticket, which is 360,000. So do get in touch with us. If you need to get in touch with me, you can hit me up on 0753 20 22 48. That's also my WhatsApp number as well, Ugandan code. So basically, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Not to get to know what kind of investors will be there, but also what you will learn as well. So yeah, 5th of July, we are meeting at Fontis Residences in Kampala, Uganda. And beyond that event, we plan to create or have an accelerator program running. Zaantu partnership again with Lila Heaven to have an accelerator program to do business support. And on top of that, still continue to support the entrepreneurs who will be available on that day to also help them get the funding that they need or take the business to the next level. On top of that, we also have a venture studio that will also be starting. So if you're a university student and you want to be part of the venture studio, the idea is that we'll take your idea and help you turn that idea into a business strategy and see for the longer term, for the next 2 to 5 years, and see how best we can support you in that direction. So if you have any other questions, please hit me up on my number or martintumwini@gmail.com, all in lower caps. And yeah, we'll be able to support you in whatever way possible. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye.
All right. Bye. Take care, guys.